Homelessness 2.0 Day 20. Normally one would not be able to cook a turkey thigh while they are homeless, but homelessness does not equate specifically to living on the streets and suffering even worse. Homelessness comes in so many forms. And in my form, it comes in the fact that I am paying right now for the foreseeable future $2,200, i.e. about 70-ish plus $70 to $75 a day, to not be on the streets. And finding a place to stay is a huge fucking pain in the ass. And I'm fortunate that unemployment paid more money, like approximately 3 times the amount of money on average that I was making at iHeart. And I was only making like $470 a week. If that tells you how little people are getting paid right now, there's a reason why people are frustrated. I'm one of them. And even though I am in a better position than some, and definitely better than where I was 10 years ago, that does not, the frustration and the suffering of others does not escape me. I have tried to be a reasonably empathetic person most of my life. It took some things to change for me to understand more fully. I'm not saying that one must be 100% always empathetic towards everybody, because that's not really possible. There are some things that I would say we need a little bit more education on in the regular world. We need to be able to understand that people currently have a lot of problems. A lot of those people have problems not of their own accord. Some of those problems, those struggles, if you will, are also not their fault, and they could be generational. One thing again, and I've mentioned it before, and it will happen again and again, because there's more and more discussion about it, but the black community is at a greater disadvantage solely because of generational slavery in the past, a lack of reparations that were promised to former slaves, who then could not borrow against the land that they were promised, and thus potentially have that, at the minimum, potential generational wealth. And while I don't have any generational wealth, there are people out there like me, who look like me, who are more willing to give me something to then help me out than they are people who look like the African American community, the black community. That is one issue. That's why there are so many African American people who are in the streets, more so. That's also why, and I want to say that, and that there's a systemic issue, and it's not necessarily specifically that one, but why the majority of homeless people are men. Because the moment a woman is under threat of homelessness or is homeless, she will receive a lot of options. This is not to say that women don't have certain disadvantages either. But in this case, since we're talking about homelessness, this is an issue that is largely male and minority. And many people in this country are 1 or 2 paychecks away from being in a similar situation. And it's not some sort of culture thing where you go and you're spending too much money at Starbucks, or you're spending too much money at Dunkin' Donuts or whatever. I saw some stupid, really, really, really hot and dumbass take from a person who claimed to be, someone from another country, an immigrant, And they were like, people are bitching about this, that, and the other with regards to capitalism, and capitalism is problematic. First and foremost, I understand that there are merits to capitalism. One of them being that all things being equal, that is, and since they're not, makes it a little bit more problematic, but all things being equal under capitalism, everybody would have the same opportunities to not just create wealth, but to potentially thrive. Competition is a good thing, generally speaking. There's a lot of generalities in this whole thing, and there's a lot of caveats in this whole process. And again, when you go back to generational poverty and in literal enslavement, that all things being equal thing doesn't really pan out as well. Capitalism is just an economic format of how to run a country. And socialism is an alternative. They're good and they're bad for both. This is why our country currently, and many other countries, employ both. Because both work. It's a balancing act. It is not a perfect balancing act. I was trying to check the clock there just now, but I forgot I have it on a timer because I'm cooking the turkey. But I think it's somewhere around like 2. And the reason for that is because I woke up at like 5 this morning after going to bed at around 1, but me, I go to sleep about an hour later. So about 3 hours. And I just kind of woke up. Like, I didn't have to get up and pee kind of thing. I just kind of woke up and just couldn't stay asleep. And so for another 4 hours I was awake. I got up and made a grilled cheese sandwich. I cut up an avocado and made me some guac out of that. And, watched some videos here and there and whatnot. And then just kind of laid down in bed and tried to go to sleep. And I think it was about 9 o'clock or so when I finally went back to sleep. Then I woke up about 2 hours later. So I'm now sleep deprived. And this feeling is right on point with when I was homeless. Like, the sheer fact that the last 6 months of my homelessness back in the early 2010s, I was going to school. Now, granted, it was only on Mondays and Wednesdays, but I was going to school all day for 2 classes, and I got a 4.0 in each one of them. Now, for me, they were both kind of easy. One was humanities, the other one was oceanography. Now, the oceanography one, it required a little bit more effort, of course, and I had a study partner, so I'm sure that helped as well. But nevertheless, the sheer fact that constantly being perpetually sleep deprived every day, because there's no day, even when you get good sleep, you're still in a sleep debt. And it's only been in this situation, not even when I was living at the crappy shithole apartment that should have been condemned years ago, did I really get what I would classify as restful sleep. Now, still, because I am a human who is 40 years old, even when I get restful sleep, sometimes I don't get enough, and I sleep just long enough, and then my neck hurts for, the whole day, like today. Granted, today is a sleep deprivation day, so. But, yeah, it's frustrating. Life shouldn't be hard. It's already hard enough on its own. There are so many factors just coming into this world. Being born. Birth is not a gift. Not to many people, not to me. Birth is in so many places, and for so many people it is a curse. It is nothing but torture. Many people who want kids are like, well, I want to have my own. There's a fuck ton of orphans out there. Go adopt. If you think you can afford having a kid, you should be able to afford adoption. If that's something that you really care about, if you think honestly, truthfully, that you need to have a child in your life, go adopt. Because at least they'll know that you love them. Instead of being an accident or an inconvenience or somebody you really wished you had aborted. We tend to be more pro-birth than pro-life in this country, and it's kind of sickening. And I'm not really going to go on a tangent on that because it's not really the point. I can do that another time. But the point is now that there are people who are struggling. And I'm not just saying it just because it's me. I'm trying to use what voice I do have, which is pretty fucking small, to elucidate others that this is a problem. This is a regular, persistent problem. And one of the things that we could do as a society is say, look, I don't care who uses it. I don't care why they use it. I don't care how they get it. I want a system. This is me, but also I'm saying this is what I want everybody to be saying. I want a system that helps people because they need help. We have a problem whereby so many people, myself right now, can't get housing because they're unemployed. I have money, but I can't get housing because I'm unemployed. Many people can't get jobs because they don't have housing. They don't have an address. Now, yes, there's possibilities out there. There are some resources here and there that let you do it, but they are so absolutely inconvenient. Back when I was literally living on the streets in a tent, there was a place in Skid Row in Los Angeles that let you use their address for your mail. But it's a pain in the ass to get there. Plus, it's in Skid Row. Nobody wants to be in Skid Row. Nobody likes Skid Row. Now you might be saying, well, beggars can't be choosers. You can go fuck yourself. If anything, beggars should have more choice. That is, I think, in fact, the sickest thing. Because you're saying you are at your worst. You should take whatever comes to you. Instead of maybe saying, you are at your worst. Let's give you as many options to get you out of it as possible. Fuck that beggars can't be choosers bullshit mentality. That is some high horse self-important shit that needs to disappear from your brain if you have that thought process. If you don't, hopefully you kind of align with that other thing. Hey, you're in your worst possible situation. Let's give you as many opportunities to get you out of that situation. Beggars should be the ones making the most choices. Because begging in of itself is already humiliating enough. We don't need to be humiliating them more. And many people won't beg. That is my timer for my turkey, just to check on it. It's not likely to be fully cooked. But nevertheless, I should be, just like you can go to this grocery store and figure out whether you want turkey legs or turkey thighs. We should have more choice for those who are at rock bottom. We should be giving, instead of only one rope that might be slippery, let's have an entire, Metaphorically speaking, let's just say this person is down at the bottom of a pit. How they got there doesn't fucking matter. They're not part of our world. They're stuck in a pit. Let's help get them out of the fucking pit. Not only should we use our best to get them out, we should use our best tools, our strongest people, the most people that we can do so. We should be giving them multiple opportunities. We should be throwing as many ropes down there as possible. I don't mean just toss it down there and let it, fall slack. I'm saying, let's send them ropes. Hell, let's send them ropes and hey, maybe we need competition to help the people out of the well. One guy throws down a rope, another one throws down a rope ladder. I want that mentality in our society. The people at the bottom should have the competition aimed at them so that they can get out of that hole as fast as humanly possible. And back to not just being a worker bee, but being a productive member of society. Productive being that when you are safe, when you are secure in your surroundings, when you are not in a disposition to be afraid of whether you should eat or pay your lights, eat first. Because the lights ain't gonna really help a dead person. When you can be your best potential self because your needs are met, you will be a far more productive member of society. And while there, yes, may be some more expensive upfront costs, time and time and time and time again, it has been proven that social services of such nature, of those who help people get on their feet and safe and secure, pays for itself in the long run. More so. It's profitable, in fact. And sometimes that's literally the only way you can get through people's heads. To help somebody, it has to be profitable. That's our country. Have fun with that.